What do the Netherlands, Charles Darwin, and silver have in common? We will find out as we take on what may be the nautical coin for the ages, here on the Culture of Currency. Welcome back, one and all, to the Culture of Currency, the channel dedicated to your journey collecting coins. Today is a special video highlighting a coin gifted to me from my friends at Bullion Now for doing an interview with them a few months back. This video is not sponsored by Bullion Now. However, if any entity would like to sponsor a video or partner with this channel, please email me at cultureofcurrency@gmail.com. Now let's dive into this amazing and unique coin. The first thing anyone will notice about this coin is the shape. We have a triangle with rounded edges, which I guess is technically not a triangle, so I will just consider it basically a polygon until I find the actual shape name. We can also see right off the bat that this is a nautical coin that is produced not by the Perth Mint, but actually the Royal Australian Mint, which is steadily climbing my list of favorite mints of the world. The obverse or front of the coin does a great job of having Her Majesty present while allowing a great story to be told. If we look left to right, it would seem we have period clothing that would seem more European than Australian, which makes sense when we talk about what these lads are doing. They look to be in the middle of construction of some kind of ship. Seeing as their attire looks to be European and they are in the middle of constructing a vessel, I would assume this scene takes place in Europe because when those shoes and high socks were in demand, boats were made to sail to places like Australia, not the other way around. When we gaze to the right, it would seem that the ship has set sail and some of the men salute as the ship heads to the horizon. Once again, we see triangular hats and high socks, making me think this is a European naval coin of some kind. We also see at the top of this coin what seems to be the final act of the story, which to my eyes represents capsizing of the ship. On the reverse or back of this coin, we find the information needed to piece this puzzle together. We have really two perspectives here. The first is the ship sailing across the water in a very familiar logo. This VOC is an acronym that represents the Dutch East India Trading Company. This is a very unique and telling display, which means this boat is at least from the Baroque period of 1600s, but not before, because that's the time when the company out of the Netherlands was established. When we turn the coin, however, we get the biggest clue yet in the name of the vessel. At the top, we see the weight and purity in very small font, as it should be on a coin like this, but we also notice the name, Zeewick. That is the name of this boat, and it is really what brings this coin together. When the coin is held in this fashion, we also see the boat upside down, which I assume is referring to the sinking of the ship, which did happen. So what is the Zeewick, and how does it integrate with Australian history? Well, it is thought that the Dutch were the first to sight and lay foot in Australia from a European standpoint. The Dutch were some of the best navigating the world's waters. The first Englishman I could find was a guy named James Cook, who we have a coin hailing his name right here, as he had some of the islands named after him, not too far from Australia, the Cook Islands. This ship was one of the Dutch vessels that ran aground on a reef, capsizing in 1727, which makes sense based on the clothing on the front of the coin. So while Bach composed his St. Matthew's Passion in Germany and the Coronation Anthem was being composed by Handel, this ship lay bare on a reef while the continents were being transferred to Gun Island. These 208 sailors eventually fell to 82 survivors who fashioned parts of the Zeewick into another boat to reach their original destination, which took another month to achieve by water. That is a survivor story if I've ever heard one. Almost 100 years later, a ship from England discovered the wreckage. That ship was the HMS Beagle. If you have never heard of this boat, it is one of the most important boats in the study of biology. This is the same boat that carried Charles Darwin to the Galapagos Islands, where he worked on the origin of species. What is even more interesting is Darwin was such an impactful shipmate that the next excursion that this boat took after Darwin wrote his book, not only did they discover the wreckage of the Zeewick, but they also named a harbor on the north side of Australia after Charles Darwin. So there you have it, a brief history so that you can learn about this wonderful coin so that we can assess its relevance on our scale. Now let's put it to the numbers. On the obverse of this coin, of course we are greeted with triangular fashion which match the hats worn by the blokes on the bottom right. We have Her Majesty in subtle profile, which is my favorite way to acknowledge the monarchy while still using the majority of the real estate on the theme of the coin, which in this case is the building, sailing, and destruction of this vessel. This is just a fantastic front and scores a 9. Now we look at the back. We have one of the coolest backs in all of coins, as there are two perspectives of viewing which I've really only seen in this series. Even the rope borders are on theme. We have an excellent font and nautical components throughout. There's historical significance and the craftsmanship is great. The back scores a rare 10. Now we sail towards mintage. This is a coin that comes in a mintage of 20,000 coins. This means you better get one while you can and scores a 9 out of 10. Now we see the coast of cultural significance. On the front we have the building and maiden voyage of a ship that could be argued that is in the Netherlands, but the wreckage is in Australia as in the course in which they set sail. The back also highlights the ship which lay waste in Australia. This ship is of great importance to the history of that land and reminds us of a time when Australia was in colonial infancy. Therefore, I think this scores a 10. Now we can see if this coin sits in the crow's nest of collectability. We have a coin with a low mintage as we discussed earlier. It also is in a series of 4 and has a strong nautical theme, which seems to be one of the most liked themes in silver. Maybe this is an association with silver and gold with pirates and sunken treasure. It is well struck and very interesting with its shape. I think it scores a 10. Uniqueness is our last harbor to sail into. This coin has a boat and is nautical like many other coins. It is, however, part of the series that brings you two specifically unique things: triangular coins and double perspectives. With a subject matter being a unique ship that is only minted 1 year, it passes other boats like the Antigua and Barbuda Rum Runner or the Cook Island Bounty, which use the same boat every year. This is a highly unique coin and scores a 10. This brings our total to 58 out of 60. This gives me a 3-way tie for first place of all of my coins with the Korean Chiwoo and the Netherlands Lion. This is an elite coin of the highest minting and is a coin that should be sought for all collectors. Thank you so much Bullion Now for gifting me this icon of silver, and you would be glad to note that the average for Australian coins in my collection with this coin now is a bit higher, but I will need to add more Australian coins to bring up the average to first place. Thank you so much for watching, and please remember to stay classy and current with the culture of currency.